Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday. It's the 15th of October 2025. It's currently 7:30 a.m. on the West Coast, 10:30 a.m. on the East Coast. The market has been open obviously for about half an hour. First of all, remember this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. Here's a chart of the All Ords, kind of just basing away here, but in an overall uptrend. And let's just look at kind of the Dow. And you can see it had that snapback, and then recovery. Last night was wild. It was a big swinging day, and it's been a wild market. I mean, it's just an amazing market, and for those in the right sectors and who are, following their rules and taking the good trades, your accounts should be pretty much taking out new watermark highs pretty regularly at the moment. If you're not, if you're really battling, then you probably need to stop and just review every single thing you're doing, because this is one of the best markets I've been in years. Really is. Okay, and that doesn't mean it's not possible to lose money. Totally is. Okay, you've got to be disciplined, and I think one of the dangers at the moment is just rushing in like this. You've got your good setups, right? ACHR, I mean, that's perfect. Okay, this is going to go down hopefully if it keeps rallying as one of my most textbook perfect setups. Not mine, I mean, heaps of people in it. DYL was perfect. Okay, look at that, bang. You can't find more perfect trades than ACHR DYL in terms of statistically their setups. Absolutely amazing. But what happens in a hot market like this is people start reaching and then taking shit that's not a setup. Okay, and that's where I think in a market like this you come unstuck, because you see people on Twitter and stuff. Everyone's supposedly getting rich, and the reality is that a lot of the majority of people will still lose money in a bull market because they do dumb things and they don't manage it. And along the same point, like, I haven't definitely managed everything perfectly either, right? I've been doing well, and some trades I've been getting out at a good spot, but like, I haven't been, in the past I've been very good at letting things like this run, whereas hover I was bailing out at 27, right? And then the thing went up to 44. Okay, and so it is hard when and there's so many factors. Like with USAR, I probably had a bit too much size on, and then it forced me to do something like that. But there's so many reasons, but this was bigger picture. There's no way I should have been selling that early. I should have been letting some of it run, and so there's always mistakes to be made. Doesn't matter if it's a hot market. But it just is a good reminder that the best setups out there, and I'm the one I talk about this all the time. But when you catch yourself on one of the best waves around, don't jump off it. Do you know what I mean? Ride that wave until it crashes you. All right, and that is key right now. And so that's what's going through my head when I'm lucky enough to find myself in some of these runaway breakouts. Okay, it's like, okay, this is perfection. Okay, and so let's not dump them early. Let's have a crack, because when you do, and obviously I'm onto this one, but when you do get into something that doubles on you or even triples it quickly, it can obviously be an amazing year. Okay, especially if you trade big on it, right, and put a lot of your account into it. With management, when I said I did that, I did, but I had obviously a risk management plan. Okay, look at how tight my stop is here, guys. My risk on this, and I entered twice. I entered on this inside break here. I entered here and then I entered here, very close to each other, but it does spread my risk out. And then a tight stop. This is what I risked, and then obviously I still made like 3-1 or whatever, but I should have made a lot more. Anyway, the other one is hover. Okay, and I know this is talked about on the forum by some other people, but like, I was in this. Okay, this is just amazing. All right, this setup. I'm like, holy shit, guys! Like, I keep going back and looking at some of these setups. I'm like, wow. Like, I sold it too early too, right? And it's just like, why didn't I let some run? Like, during that COVID bull run, remember, I was always letting some run with kind of a 20, 21 or 20 exponential moving average close as a stop, and that works so well for me. And anyway, that's life. So I'm just got to correct that, okay? And then just keep taking the best setups in hopefully the best sectors. That doesn't mean I'm not looking at other sectors though, okay? But really good setups. Now, let's just quickly go through some stuff. All right, obviously, there's so many trades on the ASX to talk about. I'm not going to talk about them all. EGR is going well. Zim, yes, it's like not, it's just, look, it's right in its 10-day, right? Exponential 10, right? See all these weeks. I look at it and think, man, this thing's a laggard. I just want it to fly. It's a bit unreasonable because it is trending up. It's trending up nicely. It's just not doubling quickly, which is some of the little small caps. But then again, it's a $20 stock, and it doesn't move like some of the others. Well, it can here and stuff. But anyway, my point is, I would love this to just fling up right to 24, 25 bucks in a hurry. But you don't always get what you want. And is there a reason to sell it yet? Not really. I mean, any weakness, any wicks to its 10 exponentials being quickly bought, look at this day, and so like, if I see that, well, I'm not going to sell it. I'm just going to ride it, and then if we have a change of character, change of personality, like let's say it starts, breaking that support, and I'm like, oh, I might just protect my profits. I'm not sure yet, but still in it, and obviously, I've already talked about DYL, right? There's heaps of others. Like CGF broke out yesterday. I know this isn't a rare earth stock, but I did take it. It's just that ascending triangle is perfect. I must admit, though, it soaked up a bit of my available cash because it's more of an expensive stock and you need a bigger position for it to be worthwhile. And so then it limits you into a lot of the other trades. Like you can't take as many other trades because you've got heaps of cash soaked up in a more expensive stock. And so it's like, there are decisions to be made, but I decided that ascending triangle was so nice, I needed to kind of back it, Now, let's look at some other stuff. Now, this is breaking out this morning, unfortunately, but GNM came up in Darvis scans last night. Right, sector. I love that you can get it. I could get in at 0.1, which I did this morning, instead of paying 105. It's a right sector, blue sky. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on that one. Little penny though. GNW. Look, I'm in TNE. Right, took this cheat entry here. It's been wicking down here and threatening to stop me, but it hasn't. Now we've got this massive channel. Okay, in a good company. Right. I know it's not rare earths, but big channel, weekly chart. Good risk reward. Okay, it's like a 5% risk on that, and just long-term uptrend, winning company, right? So anyway, like that. Whether that's whether or not that's not going to make money as quickly as some of the best specs, but good setup sometimes, and I can't really ignore the good ones. Meta Group, I think I've talked about this before, but just basing away here. Blue sky above it. Okay, it's just setting up. Little old sleepy BCI that had this little amazing little base breakout. It's just basing again. It's just minding its own business. Yeah, there's 2.8 billion, but there's so many movers at the moment with a lot of stock, a lot of shares on issue. So anyway, it's basing up there. Just in. Remember, this was the one with shit on balance volume, right? During this base, see this? Bang, bang, bang. All the unbalanced volume fans wouldn't have touched that. And then boom, all right? Anyway, let's move on. PMT, basing. Okay. I do have my OBV turned back on there because I was playing around with shit, but there you go. PMT basing away, that's just tightening. Had a little flush out here. It's not perfect yet, there's definitely an argument for having a resistance line like this, but I'm not gonna do it that way yet. I just think there's decent two touches here, bang bang, and it's decent resistance. I'm gonna hopefully just watch that base a bit longer. PMT, TEA, which is in the same space as Meta Group, okay, and just bringing that back, right? You got these mining management companies. Obviously, we all know gold is just ridiculous, okay? I mean, holy shit, guys. Like, I've been in it, as I've talked about, but not enough. I mean, it's like every fund manager in Australia right now is pissed off at themselves that they didn't bet more heavy on gold. And anyway, it is what it is. You can't change the history. But let me get back to what I was talking about with TEA and Mader Group. It's like even the big end of town is starting to shape up. I mean, this has got a lot of overhead supply, but BHP's broken out into a big channel. I know I've talked about this before, but now it's got on a weekly chart this kind of swing high that it's looking about taking out. Okay, this is a pretty significant swing high in BH because it's outside that channel now. It's kind of come around here and rallied up and then given a very tight little right hand side here. And so you can call it a cup with handle if you want. If you look at the daily chart, you definitely got your cup and you've got your handle. And so cup and handles obviously incredibly, they vary widely in how they look, right? But that's kind of setting up, and obviously mining is doing very well. And so, a couple what's happening in the rare earth and lithium end of town at the moment, and then you couple that with what's happening with, even on the big end of town, like, Rio, BH, and obviously the backdrop of the geopolitical stuff and the reasons behind the rare earth rallies and the need for copper and rare earth and blah, blah, blah. And then you look at the companies that, are kind of risk-free in the sector in a way, like mining companies have the hard shit to do. They got to dig it up. They got to raise money to dig it up. They need to, production costs a bomb. You got to find the stuff first and get lucky enough, but then they need to produce it and manage all the people and all the equipment. These guys just come along and just do the services stuff for them. They don't have to take huge risks. They just take their money off them. As far as I'm concerned, obviously it's more complex than that. It's a big business with a lot of moving parts, but it's like that mining boom, that I was cutting my teeth on, back in, 2002 to 2008 or whatever, here, like, feels like the other day, but, shit, when you go 03 to 08, I think, 07 or later, and, the Worley Parsons and all of those, like, kind of mining servicing companies, they just did so damn well. It was just, they were just printing money, and it was just kind of not risk-free, but anyway, you know what I'm getting at. And so, let's see what happens here, but I'm pretty bullish on those servicing companies still, and I definitely don't want to miss out on big moves, okay? What else was there? Two other stocks. Oh no, then you're at 10-2. I need to move on, guys. Got to get my kid to school in a sec. TVN. Now, like Polo's, obviously he loves these little spec ends of town, and I get it, but I just need tightness, right? I just can't blindly buy that yet. Like yesterday, this has got to now settle. Okay, settle. If that settles there for a week, gives me a little place for a stop loss, then maybe I can manage my risk, because I've got to be able to manage my risk, and the chart needs to make sense from a business, and kind of, it needs to be a smart bet, because it's all just smart bets really, isn't it? And you need to be able to have an uncle point, a place with a stop that makes sense, that's tight, but certainly a big base, okay, and setting up. So let's see TVN, how that pans out, and if it gives me opportunity. And the other one is WC8, right? This is that one that I think it was Reinhardt or someone bought into, and when it was at its peak, back here, I think it was like in late 23. So that's a darn shame, Gina. And it's obviously been hammered. It used to be a market cap of well over $1 billion. Now it's got market cap of 281 mil, but I don't really give a shit about any of that. I'm just looking at this little tight base. Okay, moving average starting to stack up. So looking at that for a good risk reward move out of there. Okay, get on there. You can see that your stop can be here, and maybe not all the way down here. Maybe I can get it tighter, and then bang, maybe 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, something like that if you're lucky. Okay. Now US. Okay. ACHR. To me, it's like she ticks all the boxes. It's kind of the same sector as hover. It's like aviation. It's really hot right now. Flying cars and all this flying cars is true. There's a lot of very hot stocks that are into flying cars right now, but also just defense aviation stuff, drones and very, very complicated smart drones. And so this is setting up, and this came up in a data scan, like, pretty much all my stocks do. I couldn't live without this bloody thing, right? And it finds it, but then when I'm scrolling to that watch list, I'm like, okay, bang, and then I look over here and something stops me. It's like when I was stuffing around with USA. It was like half an hour before the market opened. I did an inside bar scan. Okay, shit, what am I doing, guys? Sorry. I did this inside bar scan, and it found this, right? This bar here with 1, 2, 3, 4 inside bars. That's how I found it, right? But then I looked across, and it wasn't just these inside bars I was looking at. I was looking at it in the context of the whole thing, right? Okay, and it's the same with ACHR. Like, yeah, it came up in data scan, but I'm looking here, I'm looking at the sector, I'm like Googling it, and I'm figuring out what they do. It's pre-revenue, but shit, this thing moves. And I'm like, wow, this is a wild beast of a stock, a bit like hover, and they are hard to trade. It's like you get in hover, and I remember my emotions of hover, like, because I had a decent position on it, and you're riding it up, and it's like, this thing can be 10-15% down, like, and then closes up. It's just, you got to be kind of mentally ready. You need to like do some practice in your head on, hey, if I'm going to take this, be ready for wildness. Okay, just have your initial stop point, and that's where you get out. But then other than that, just like, if you want to ride it properly, you need to sit back and say, hey, this is a bull I'm riding, and it's going to try and buck me off, and it got to be firm, and I need to just sit tight and let it do its thing. Okay, and just buck off all the weak hands, let them get chucked out. All right, that's watching it. Okay, I've been watching it for ages, but if it can start clearing these old highs, especially after this market flush out, then that's where I'm going to be in it. All right, that is it, guys. Have fun out there, manage your risk. It's all about that, and then let the winners run. Try not to choke them like I did with USA. Cheers, bye.